Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and it's your boy, world first day 1 tier 4 ZEUS. And unlike day 1 tier 4 Hercules, this is actually a good character. Now, I know he's super expensive, native tier 2, only unlockable at the end of the epic quest. You gotta buy Hades, but he may be, especially without a uniform, the best native tier 2 at the end of an epic quest right now. And that says something, considering Gene is still pretty good. We know Gladiator's been putting in work, etc., etc. But he is very, very strong for PvE, and that is without a brilliant CTP, which I know is a big deal for a lot of people. Now, we're going to start the test, or whatever, the showcase with a Mighty Rage. Spoiler alert, this is not what I want to end up using on him. We have a 4-star artifact that we pulled yesterday, so I'm very, very lucky there. With his artifact, I think it's pretty good. It's ignore dodge and increased damage to villains, but it's not insane. So I wouldn't I wouldn't use an artifact selector on ZEUS unless you have a lot of the other more important artifacts for more important characters for PvE and PvP. This is not that crucial to his damage output. We have Miles Morales Striker, and then we have 19 Odin's Blessings. I'm just waiting on the last lightning one. We do have 2 of them, I think, are sparkly. 3 of them are sparkly, which means that they're engraved Odins, but we have no glory holes. And then we have no elite gear either, where he can get some additional elemental damage. So it's still a pretty good build. Don't get me wrong, it's rank 136, but it could still be better. Everyone's super curious about his ABX ABL performance, so we're going to jump first into this is Alien Male Hero, I believe, and you're going to see what he can do. But the main thing I want you to take away from this is how long it takes his rage to proc. Yes, sir. It is really not great, and despite having a lot of hits, he just takes ages. So I think with a mighty competition, this would easily be over 3 million already, and that's a big deal considering that we're only in the first 30 seconds of the fight. You can just see, man, it just takes ages. It's just so delayed. It's so delayed, and so you will end up ruining runs over this because of how delayed it is. So I don't want to do too much of the showcase with a rage, because I actually don't think it's indicative of his real power, and that actually is good because it means he's even stronger than I thought. So yeah, I do think competition is really the way to go here. The only other way you could really do this realistically is if you paired him with someone like Coulson, so that he could give him guaranteed crit rate, but that's not going to be a viable option for most ABX ABL stuff. That's only going to be viable for, I would say, lower end. I wouldn't even say high end. Lower end World Boss Legend, World Boss Legend Plus, where you can just pair them together as heroes, as males, because they don't really share any tags either. So no tags, one's human, one's alien, one's universal, one's blast. There's really nothing that they can share. But you can see there, 9 million, just over 9 million in the first half. So I tried to stop it at about 1:30. 9 million in the first half is very good. That puts you on pace for like close to 18. There is a bit of drop off. There is a bit of, plateauing that you get with the score. But a lot of people estimated that with my build with a Mighty Rage, I should be able to get 17, maybe 17.5. So that is a tremendous score for a non-uniform tier 4 to be getting an ABL straight out of the box with, in my opinion, an inferior CTP. So yeah, and that basically just comes down to the fact that he doesn't have guaranteed crit rate. But I still think he can do really well. We're not going to do the whole fight here, but just so you can see that rage is not bad. It's just not necessarily ideal. This is 45 of Black Dwarf and Corvus, and with this team up here, he's just going to obliterate this stage. I think I had more than a minute left over, which means you could climb up higher. You could do this with less Pierce, etc. Remember, no team up collection as well. So really so much room for him to grow. Whereas the rest of the Olympians, they have to kind of get onto his level first, which is, not going to happen. We know. I'm going to move over here to get the Aether, and then I'm going to rip the tier 3, excuse me. The tier 3 does add a ton of damage and a ton of hits, so you will notice you get a lot of damage, and then the tier 3 isn't there, and then you get less damage, so you kind of just have to get used to that. It's fine. But, yeah. Nice AoE as well on everything except the 4, but that's okay, because his rage proc is super delayed. So you can see here, we're just flying through. We're not even going to make it to the 3rd ether spawn before triggering the next phase. So it takes less than 45 seconds to get down to 45 bars, which is very, very good. We'll play this out a little bit more to see how long it takes us to get down to 30 bars, but I imagine it's going to be pretty quick here. And that Rage proc just does not want to activate. It's actually crazy. Gonna get the last Aether here in a second. Let's rip this. Gonna do the co-op skill. Let that play out. I like using the 1 in between. I think it adds a lot of damage. Really nice there. So, yeah, we're gonna get to the halfway point damage-wise after just over 90 seconds. So 97, 98, we'll call it 98 seconds to get halfway through. This is very good time for, again, a mighty Rage build. However, Rage is not the ideal CTP for him, as we've already highlighted. So we're going to swap him over to a competition now. I think alternatively, you could give him a Judgment. That would make him better for World Boss Legend, worse for ABX ABL. But again, if you're not interested in pushing for max scores, then I think it doesn't really matter. But let's dive now back into that stage of Black Dwarf Ebony Maw, and let's see if the competition actually is better, worse, or the same. I suspect it will be slightly better, just because he does have a rotation that lines up, and his cooldowns line up very well with the 6-second activation. But we'll have to wait and see after, you know, we do a few laps here. The only thing is, I don't want to start early. Because with the Rage, you sort of get the habit to start early. You don't want to start early with this one because it will activate right away. Okay, there we go. Oof, very nice damage there. Get another rotation in. Great damage there. We're going to pick up the 2nd Aether. Spawns a little bit further. We're going to lose a little bit of time here in comparison because of the dashing and the waiting to dash. But this seems as good, if not better. Yeah. Pretty much identical, probably a couple seconds faster, if we're being honest, because we also, again, lost a few seconds to waiting for the Aether and waiting for Black Dwarf to charge before unleashing our rotation. If the Aether spawns right next to us here, it's going to gain back a lot of time. We're going to be able to pop the tier 3 with this opening rotation, which is really nice, too. You get to crank out a bunch of extra damage. Really nice. And then that sets us up. Okay, we're not going to collect this Aether, I think. Ooh, we do collect it. Dirty. So we're going to rip him here. Oh, yeah, this is way faster. Oh, this is way faster. This is nuts, dude. Wow. So that's, yeah, wow. That's like a 10 seconds faster. That's 10 seconds faster to get to the halfway point. That's a lot better. Wow. Doesn't seem like a lot, but when you're talking about the difference between 82 seconds and 92 seconds, or whatever it was, 85 and 95 seconds, that's really big. That's faster than, that's 10%, more than 10% more damage, because you're able to, you know, crunch down the time when it's already such a short amount of time, which means that you're dealing a lot more damage in the same window. So that is really, really nice. But the proof, I think, is going to be in the pudding of Alliance Battle Legend. And so I think I can say confidently, even before we test competition, although I do want to see what competition does, that ZEUS is going to be replacing Gladiator for me for this day. Now, whether Gladiator can be fully replaced on my account, I don't know yet. It's going to have to wait and see. But for sure, for this day, I'm going to score way more with a similarly built ZEUS compared to Gladiator. Now, the first rotation is actually not that much higher. It's only about, interesting. It's only about 120,000 more. That's not bad. It's not like a you know, low amount of score over the whole time. But remember, we're trying to hit 9 million. We're trying to hit 9 million at the halfway mark. So that is kind of the time to beat, so to speak. And we're going to have to see if we can do that. We're going to need maybe a little bit of help from the orb and see where that spawns so that we can take full advantage of it. Okay, we're going to be able to position ourselves so it lands on us. Pretty bad spawn point. but I think we made the most of it. It's a really, really bad spawn point for the orb there. But yeah, that comp always procking. Every time I look up, the comp is procced. That feels so good. So in the same amount of time, we're able to put on almost 1 million, about 770,000 points. That is absolutely gigantic. Right? That's, again, that's a 10% increase in the score in the same amount of time. That is fantastic. Probably shouldn't have waited here, but we do get to pop the tier 3 right at the beginning now. We don't have the 4th skill ready, so I kind of screwed up the timing on it. Let's see if this comes back to haunt me too much. Shouldn't be. Well, we'll do the whole thing. We'll let the whole thing play out here. See how much higher I can get compared to my run of 16 million. I think it was 16.6, I believe. See how much comp adds. Oh yeah, we're at 13.5. Even with these terrible energy ball locations where they're being summoned, we're still over 14 million. We're a little bit ahead of the rotation right now, which is not good. So this is definitely going to punish our score, because yeah, we should be popping our rotation right now, and we're popping it late. So we're actually not going to end up scoring much higher than we did with the Rage. It seems like we had a really good run with that Rage build. Yeah, I screwed up the run, I think. I screwed up the run. So that actually ended up the same as the Rage build, which is kind of crazy. I think it was a bad run there at the end. We were definitely on pace for a lot more, having hit almost 10 million at the halfway mark. So I think going from 10 million to just last, the last half of the run, getting only 6.6 million is probably indicative of some user error there. But what's not in dispute, what can't be chalked up to user error, is how good ZEUS is. I think he's absolutely, I know he's absolutely meta for ABX ABL now. Easy to play, chill play style. Works with multiple different CTPs. Also, bombs, World Boss Legend Plus can replace Thor for you, can replace Gladiator, can replace Odin. Really allows you a lot more flexibility in that same package. So I would highly recommend considering him, particularly if you haven't yet built up Odin or Gladiator, because he's basically Odin and Gladiator put together. He has the World Boss Legend Plus value of an Odin, and then he has the ABX ABL value of a Gladiator. Obviously not in the combat package, but you do have other options for those combat days now. And you also have Ares as a literal combat alien. So yeah, it seems like they are trying to replace some of the older Vanguard native tier 2s with some of the newer ones. And I, for one, welcome one Olympian Immortal. Hopefully there will be more in the future, but for now, we can just pray to our false gods. Anyways, guys, hit me with the comments down below. Let me know if you enjoyed the video. Smash like button, enjoy the content, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.